Welcome back to Read This Next with Laura and Nicole from the Thunder Bay Public Library. Today we are doing a topic that, no, I was going to say that we've done before, but we haven't done this one before. Have we?
We've done adaptations before. I think so. Now you have me not sure because we did do like
Oh, we
TV
did.
and movie recommendations, but I don't know that they were all adaptations.
Yeah, there was, because we talked, yeah, I recall. So the topic obviously is adaptations of books that are being turned into or have been turned into movies or TV shows. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So I tried to do a mix of ones that are available either because we have it at the library on DVD, whether it's a movie or a TV show. And then there's also a couple that are available on various streaming services that are either like so new, some of them are so new that we don't have it.
Mhm.
And frankly, some of those streaming services are not very accommodating and they don't put their stuff out on DVD at all because they want you to pay to subscribe to them. So I didn't want to have just those in case you don't have access to those streaming services. So it's a mixture. So we'll let you know which ones are available that you can just come get them out from us.
Mhm.
And either way, of course, we do have all of the books mentioned.
Yes, which I mean, as it should be.
As it should be. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe Laura is starting us off today, so I'll let you.
Yes, you're quite correct. Okay.
Woohoo!
So this is a very, very new series. I think it might be like still putting out new episodes. This book was a bestseller a couple of years ago when it came out, and it's a horror, and it's also a mystery, and it's also time travel. So why haven't I read it yet? I can't tell you. But
It slipped past you.
it certainly sounds like something I would enjoy. Okay. Anyway, so here's the description of the book. It's called The Shining Girls. It's by Lauren Bukes. In Depression era Chicago, Harper Curtis. We're doing well so far.
Give me one of
I
those
can't talk.
days.
It is going to be one of those days. Okay. Harper Curtis finds a key to a house that opens onto other times, but it comes at a cost. He has to kill the Shining Girls, bright young women burning with potential. Curtis stalks them through their lives across different eras until, in 1989, one of his victims, Kirby Mizraki, survives and starts hunting him back. Working with a former homicide reporter who's falling for her, Kirby races against time and reason to unravel an impossible mystery. Yes. And it's interesting because that's like the description of the book. But then if you watch the show or you see a trailer for the show, it's very focused on Kirby, that character. So it's funny that the book description starts with the murderer and then goes to the victims, and then the show, I would suggest probably rightly, puts the emphasis on the victim who's trying to fight back. Anyway, sounds interesting.
It does. Is the title the same on the, like, is the book the same as the title of the show?
It's The Shining Girls. It's on Apple Plus, I think, and it stars Elizabeth Moss. That I know for sure.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. There's our first rec.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
All right, our next one is a movie, and funnily enough, I included it even though the thing that it's based on is a play, and it's a classic play. And see, we said this at the start that we have copies of all of the books. We don't actually have a copy of this play, but it's available for free because it's super old. So it's in open, like it's not under copyright anymore, and I will put a link in the show notes where you can read it online if you're interested. And it is, I'm gonna like say this name totally wrong.
I'm glad you got it and not me.
Serrano de Bergerac.
Sounds right.
Sort of right. So this is the immortal play in which chivalry and wit, bravery and love are forever captured in the timeless spirit of romance. Set in Louis XIII's reign, it is the moving and exciting drama of one of the finest swordsmen in France, gallant soldier, brilliant wit, tragic poet lover with the face of a clown.
Oh.
Rothsten's extraordinary lyric powers gave birth to a universal hero. Oops, I just jumped my notes off the page. Here we go. And then the movie is an adaptation of a theater show. The protagonist is infatuated with Roxanne, the most beautiful woman in Paris, who is in love with another man. Love feels out of reach for Serrano, who believes his appearance and class ranking will make his destiny a lonely one. However, he realizes he can use his poetic penmanship on Christian's behalf to write declarations of love to Roxanne, allowing her to fall in love with his words with no preconception. So basically, it's Catfish, the original story.
Yeah, it's also like catfish mixed with Moulin Rouge, because isn't that like the
A
whole
little
point?
bit.
He's like, I'm poor, but I'm a really good author. And then they literally
Yes,
sing the song Roxanne.
they do. They do. I don't know if Roxanne is the name in the original book or if that's a modern update.
Hmm.
But yeah, so
Sounds
well-known
good.
tale. Obviously, elements of that, like that premise of getting to know someone through a barrier of the distance of letters or online, right? Which is what we see now,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not uncommon. Yeah, and the hero of this is Peter Dinklage, who you might know
Oh,
from Game of Thrones.
yeah,
Yeah, so he
yeah.
is the lead in that movie, and it's available to check out.
There you go.
There you go.
Sounds good. And if you don't want to check our show notes, I'm pretty sure it's more than likely if you just search like Gutenberg. Isn't that like the free
Yeah,
library one? Yeah, you can get like anything that's out of copyright now if you just type in like Gutenberg free book.
Project Gutenberg, named after the paper press.
A press. Wow.
Yes.
History lesson for everybody. Go look up the Gutenberg press. Ah.
Okay, next one is yours.
Okay. This one, I feel like I've definitely talked about MC Beaton before. I think on the episode I filmed with Jesse, but I don't think we
Okay.
talked about this series. So this is a Agatha Raisin series.
I don't
Um, and it's based, no, I'm reading this backwards. Okay, so I'll read the description of the book first. So this is
Okay.
the Quiche of Death. Putting all her eggs in one basket, Agatha Raisin gives up. Oh no, they pronounce it differently. It's just Raisin. Okay. Agatha Raisin gives up her successful PR firm, sells her London flat, and samples a taste of early retirement in the quiet village of Carsley. Bored, lonely, and used to getting her way, she enters a local baking contest. Surely a blue ribbon for the best quiche will make her the toast of the town. But her recipe for social advancement sours when Judge Cummings Brown not only snubs her entry, but falls over dead. Okay.
Oh,
After her quiche's secret ingredient turns out to be poison, she must reveal the unsavory truth. Agatha has never baked a thing in her life. In fact, she bought her entry ready made from an upper crust London quichery. Oh God. Grating on
uh-huh.
the nerves of several Carsley residents, she is soon receiving sinister notes. Has her cheating and meddling landed her in hot water, or are the threats related to the suspicious death? It may mean the difference between egg on her face and a coroner's tag on her toe. That sounds like it will be absolutely delightful to watch and
Doesn't that
read.
sound like fun? It
Yeah.
just sounds like fun.
I-
Um, that series is Cozy Mysteries. You can kind of tell because it has a very punny title, which is often characteristic of the genre.
yeah.
Um, and I think there's been maybe 3 series and a Christmas special done already in this. So if you enjoyed, there's more to dig into. And we do have that in our DVD collection.
Yay! I do love the
Yeah.
idea of it's so funny that like, she got it from the upper crust local quichery. I'm like, is there a store in London that only sells quiche? That's
I mean,
incredible.
I really
Quichery.
enjoy the pun, the quiche of death.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
The quiche of death.
Ah, it's impressive. Like how long does it take these authors to come up with them? Because somehow they keep finding new puns, new
I
mystery
don't know.
puns.
It is incredible.
Mhm. Okay, our next one, again, this is an author we have talked about before, and I think we've probably done one of these books before, maybe as well.
Okay.
Um, but this is, again, another series, also, again, British, because one of the things I found when I was looking to see like what adaptations we had in our DVD collection is there, as it turns out, Thunder Bay library users love their British TV. They love it.
Interesting.
They
Huh.
love it. So we have so many
Yeah.
of these like BBC adaptations. So that's why we're kind of heavy on those on
Hey,
this
fair
list
enough.
is too, because that's what's popular.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this series is called, oh, see, I apologize so much in advance for how much I'm butchering all these names. I'm sorry. Daglish?
I think
Daglish?
so. Daglish? Yeah.
Yeah,
Dalglish?
I'm not sure.
I'm not
That's
sure.
the name of the show, and it's based on the character of Adam Daglish, created by P.D. James. There's multiple seasons. The first season of the show is based on three of the novels: Shroud for a Nightingale, The Black Tower, and A Taste for Death. And Shroud for a Nightingale is the number 4 book in the series, but I get the impression that you can just kind of pick up. You don't necessarily have to read them in order.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. Because otherwise they would presumably have done the first season of the show based on the first book, and they did
Yeah.
not for whatever reason. So anyway, okay, so here's the description of the book. I got there eventually. All right. The young women of Nightingale House are there to learn to nurse and comfort the suffering. Blah. But when one of the students plays patient in a demonstration of nursing skills, oh no, she is horribly, brutally killed. Goodness.
Mm.
Another student dies equally mysteriously, and it is up to Adam Daglish of Scotland Yard to unmask a killer who has decided to prescribe murder as the cure for all ills.
Good for them. I mean, that is the most effective way of ending an illness.
It's true. It's true, you know? Prescribe murder. Uh, yeah, so
Just get a
again,
little prescription sheet that says murder in really bad handwriting.
sure, yes.
Yeah.
And then you get it home and you're like, what does this say? Another mystery, another British mystery, and another series, so that if you enjoy, you've got some other ones that you can check out as well. And
Mhm.
of course, we have all the books in the series.
Of course. Like you
Mhm.
said, very popular.
Very
Thunder Bay.
popular.
Okay, our next one. I really like the cover of this one. Okay, so this is The Last Duel, a true story of crime, scandal, and trial by combat in medieval France by Eric Jaeger, I want to say.
Sure.
Um, it says soon to be a major motion picture.
Oh, it
So,
is. Sorry,
yeah.
that description isn't accurate. It is a major motion picture.
See, what's interesting is I have not heard, I think I heard of the second one that we talked about, but I haven't heard of any of these being turned into like shows or anything, which I think is
This
a
is
product of like how wide
it
TV shows are now.
it is like the whole entertainment landscape is so fractured to make it
Mm-hmm.
even more surprising that you haven't heard of this movie that came out a little while ago, like long enough ago that we have it in DVD already.
Mm.
It stars huge name stars. It stars Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Uh,
You're like, I don't
BFFs.
care about them. But they're big,
That's why.
they're still big name people. You think
Yeah.
you would have heard about it just like in passing. But yes, it stars the two of them, and then the Jodie Comer, who is in Killing Eve and
Mhm.
is so delightful in that series. So very
Interesting.
strong, yeah, very strong cast. Movies seem to not do great, but that may or may not be the movie's fault.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think people
Oh, it is
also, we've talked about
rough
this
on
before.
cinema.
Yeah, yeah. When
Cinema?
you,
I was combining theater and cinema.
it's the cinema.
Apparently, apparently
Um,
it is.
so for those of you that are like me and don't know anything about this, let me tell you. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
No,
Carry on.
it's okay. Griffin true story of the duel to end all duels. In medieval France, it, as a resolute knight, defends his wife's honor against the squire she accuses of a heinous crime. In the midst of the devastating Hundred Years' War between France and England, Jean de Carouge, a Norman knight fresh from combat in Scotland, returns home from yet another deadly threat. His wife, Marguerite, has accused Sir Jacques de Gris of rape. A deadlocked court decrees a trial by combat between the two men that also leaves Marguerite's fate in the balance. For if her husband loses the duel, she'll be put to death as a false accuser. That's interesting law.
Hmm.
While enemy troops pillage the land and rebellion and plague threatens the life of all, Carouge and Legris meet in full armor on a walled field in Paris. What follows is a fierce duel, the final one sanctioned by governing powers before a massive crowd that includes the teenage King Charles IV. Fourth? No, that's fourth. Is it?
I'm not. I'm looking at you, not the description, so I don't
Okay, it
know.
says VI. I think
That's 6.
that's six. Okay,
If
I
it's
had it
IV, it would
backwards.
be 4.
Right. Okay. King Charles VI, during which both combatants are wounded, but only one fatally. And that's all I'm going to read because the rest of the description is just like, it's based on accurate information. So,
Yes.
very cool.
Right? And I remember when this was like first announced, some internet content I read where they were like, I don't know how if I'm interested in this story because it sounds like it really centers the men so much as opposed to like really ignoring the woman's role, which is
Hmm.
unfortunately not not at all atypical for a historical book. Um, but like maybe I'm not that interested in this movie if it's just about these two guys and how their lives are affected. Like
Yeah.
she's the one who's going through something here. But apparently the movie is quite well done and does
Oh,
actually, she actually has, has some inner life and it does do a fairly good job of showing her how she is impacted by it. She's not just like a little prop.
that's
Like,
nice.
yes.
Because
Yeah,
if that came out like a few years ago, it probably would have been that she's just a
probably.
prop. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yes.
I'll have to tell my partner about that.
If you're interested in historical films, it seems to be
A
a
bop.
one that might be worth checking out. A bop. Let a movie be
It's
a
a bop.
bop.
Yeah, anything can be a bop.
Oh, okay.
Get with
See,
it.
I'm just not into the hip slang. I don't know.
Me neither. I just called a movie a bop.
Okay, okay. Our
Move
next
on.
one, another movie, and another movie starring some very big name stars. Namely, have you've heard
I
of this
heard of
one?
this one, yeah. Thankfully.
Lady Gaga.
I say it like that too.
Do
Lady
you?
Gaga.
Just FYI, we are saying it wrong. That is not
Yeah,
how you're supposed to say it.
there's the
But
wrong emphasis
it's
in
fun
there.
to say it that way.
Yeah.
Her, and then also Adam Driver,
Hmm.
who is in all sorts of really great indie movies and was also Kylo Ren in Star Wars. So he's got
Hmm.
range,
He
as the
has
kids
the
say.
range.
And also great fashion is what you can find in this movie, is my understanding. So what movie slash book is it? It's called The House of Gucci, a sensational murder. Sensational story of murder. It was a sensational murder, but this is a sensational story of that murder. Murder, Madness, Glamour, and Greed by Sarah Gay Forden. The sensational true story of murder, madness, glamour, and greed. Okay, on March 27th, 1995, Maurizio Gucci, heir to the fabulous fashion dynasty, was slain by an unknown gunman as he approached his Milan office. In 1998, his ex-wife, Patrizia Reggiani Martinelli, nicknamed the Black Widow by the press, was sentenced to 29 years in prison for arranging his murder. Did Patricia murder her ex-husband because his spending was wildly out of control? Did she do it because her glamorous ex was preparing to marry his mistress? Or is there a possibility she didn't do it at all? The Gucci story is one of glitz, glamour, and intrigue.
It
Uh,
sounds so interesting.
It does sound interesting. Beautiful people behaving badly.
Ah, yes,
High
yes.
fashion, high finance, and heart-rending personal tragedy. Yeah.
It was interesting. That's like I said, the one that I have heard about, and it was so interesting reading the behind the scenes of not reading, the like TikToks and things like that, where they're showing the
Sure.
behind the scenes. And is Anne Hathaway in that and Jared Leto as well?
I don't know if Anne Hathaway is, but Jared Leto is for sure.
Yeah, because
He
and
could be.
very very interesting because they would do things out of character and in character to like try and break people. Not break like physically, just like get them out of character.
Right.
It sounds like it was fun.
Okay.
Is that we've got two more. Okay. This one is The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell, not just Corn. uh This is the story of the making of England in the ninth and 10th centuries, the years in which King Alfred the Great, his son and grandson, defeated the Danish Vikings who had invaded and occupied three of England's four kingdoms. The story is seen through the eyes of Uhtred, a dispossessed nobleman. Yeah, I've never seen that name before. Who is captured as a child by the Danes and then raised by them so that by the time the Northmen begin their assault on Wessex, Alfred's kingdom and last territory of the English hands, Uhtred almost thinks of himself as a Dane. He certainly has no love for Alfred, whom he considers a pious weakling and no match for Viking savagery. Yet when Alfred unexpectedly defeats the Danes and the Danes themselves turn on Uhtred, he is finally forced to choose sides. By now he is a young man, in love, trained to fight, and ready to take his place in the dreaded Shield Wall. Above all, though, he wishes to recover his father's land, the enchanting fort of Bebenberg by the wild northern sea. It's just like all these words, but I have to look at it and be like, how am I going to pronounce it? This thrilling adventure, based on existing records of Bernard Cornwell's ancestors, depicts a time when law and order were ripped violently apart by a pagan assault on Christian England, an assault that came very close to destroying England. That sounds super interesting. I don't know why, but also Vikings are just cool.
They are cool. And
Yeah.
once again, this is another British series.
Yeah.
It's called The Last Kingdom, is the name of the series, the TV series.
Mm.
And I think there's like a bunch, like six seasons. So, well, they're British, so they call them series, but there's a bunch. So, if that description intrigued you, not only can you read a bunch of books, there's also a bunch of very, like Vikings fighting, doing
Yeah.
interesting things.
That's nice though, especially when you can jump into like a lot of the adaptations are so new. So
Mhm,
this is
mhm.
kind of nice that you can just jump into it and you've got so much to watch.
Yes, that's a good point. We kind of did either movies, that's like a one and done, or else I picked a series that they were on my list because we had
Hmm.
just got the most recent season, and I was like, oh, we already have the first however many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this last one just makes me happy. I have not watched the show. I should watch it, but I have read these books many times. I consider them amazing classics and phenomenal reads. What am I talking about? James Harriet. So great. Are you familiar at all, or do you have no idea what I'm talking about?
No idea.
Excellent. Okay. It's not like he's well known. I'm sure he's more well known in Britain, but okay. So the series is called All Creatures Great and Small.
Okay.
And the books are actually, I think he has four, but we have, I guess, one of them where it's collected two together. All
Okay.
Creatures Great and Small, the warm and joyful memoirs of the world's most beloved animal doctor, James Harriet. Delve into the magical, unforgettable world of James Harriet, the world's most beloved veterinarian. For over 40 years, generations of readers have thrilled to Harriet Harriet's marvelous tales, deep love of life, and extraordinary storytelling abilities. For decades, Harriet roamed the remote, beautiful Yorkshire dales, treating every patient that came his way, from smallest to largest, and observing animals and humans alike with his keen, loving eye. In this one, it starts with when he's quite young, the young Harriet, as he takes up his calling and discovers the realities of veterinary practice in rural Yorkshire are very different from the sterile setting of veterinary school. Some visits are heart-wrenchingly difficult, such as one to an old man in a village whose very ill dog is his only friend and companion. Like,
Oh,
yes, heartbreaking. Some are lighthearted and fun, such as Harriet's periodic visits to the overfed and pampered Pekingese Tricky Woo, who throws parties and has his own stationery. And others are inspirational and enlightening, such as Harriet's recollections of poor farmers who will scrape their meager earnings together to be able to get proper care for their working animals. From seeing to his patients in the depths of winter on the remotest homesteads to dealing with uncooperative owners and critically ill animals, Harriet discovers the wondrous variety and never-ending challenges of veterinary practice, with his humor, compassion, and love of the animal world shine forth. They're just heartwarming. Like,
yeah.
if you're an animal person at all and you haven't picked these up, you will
It's
enjoy
time.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you will enjoy it. They're just nice stories, and it
Hmm.
is like interesting historically to read about the veterinary practice, and it is interesting as well, like when it is a working animal, and if you don't have a lot of money, how do you decide what you're willing to spend money on, and when do you kind of cut your losses, and
Yeah.
how to navigate that. They're just really, really great. Highly recommended, and apparently the series is very good as well. So
Yay.
you can
It
also
sounds
watch
really
that.
good.
And Yorkshire has a special place in my heart as well in general. So
Yay.
highly recommended on all fronts.
Yeah,
Yay.
we had some good ones. I think I'll just run through the list of the things that we're doing good for time. So
Okay.
I'll just list off the ones that we've done previously. So some more recent adaptations that we wrecked were Heartstopper by Alice Osman, I believe, No
Yes.
Exit by Taylor Adams, The Essex Serpent, and The White Tiger. We also did um, what's the Underground Railroad? Was that?
Yes.
And we
Yeah.
also did the Six of Crows, but I don't think it was Six of Crows.
Yes. It was Shadow and Bone.
Shadow and Bone, thank you.
Shadow
Same
and
author,
Bone.
same universe. But yeah, so those are some of them.
Yeah.
That being said, I'll wrap us up. Uh,
Great.
Thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you all in 2 weeks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. And check out our show notes, of course. It's www.tvplofftheshelf.com. And yeah, we'll see you all sometime soon. Bye bye.
Bye.